Hello, I'm Hortensia Bray for the Finance News Network, and joining me is CEO of Wisr, Anthony Nantes. Anthony, welcome back.
Thanks, good to be here.
Now, Wisr describes itself as a neo-lender. Can you explain to us what that means?
So we have a genuine vision around bringing financial wellness to all Australians. To deliver on that purpose, what we've had to do is really reimagine and reinvent what a consumer lender can be. Taking a personal loan out from Wisr is a really different experience. You know, we're the only lender in Australia, possibly the only lender in the world, that will give you a loan at a rate potentially up to 5% lower than a Big Four bank. But not only that after we've given that loan, we'll go on the journey with you and actively help you manage that debt and pay it down a little bit faster with a tool like the Wisr app. And as a result, we're seeing that part of our business really starting to scale now at a pretty incredible growth rate.
And where are the applications coming from?
A whole variety of channels. That's one of the more exciting things. You know, we've got great relationships across most of the large broker aggregators in Australia. I think almost 10,000 brokers in Australia can write a Wisr personal loan for one of their clients. But on top of that, we're performing exceptionally well across digital channels, across partnership channels, and our own financial wellness ecosystem, with now more than 85,000 Australians having entered that ecosystem, is starting to become a strong source of customer for us for that personal loan product.
Thanks, Anthony. Now, can you tell us about your new debt program with NAB? Talk us through the highlights.
NAB's an incredible partner to bring on board. They are the #1 in Australia in debt securitisation. It allows us to go and focus on being the best in Australia at that consumer experience and delivering something that's really different for a borrower. You put those two organisations together and we can really deliver something of real size and scale in this market.
Can you tell me about the financial metrics and NAB's commitment to fintech?
From a margin point of view, it's one of the reasons why it is so pivotal for the company. We're going from a fairly thin margin model where we're moving most of the risk and the return off our balance sheet in terms of our lending book and bringing that on balance sheet, and as a result getting access to that full margin ourselves. We talk about on average it's going to be more than a tripling of margin for the company going forward, and it really sets us up to scale and grow significantly over the next couple of years. NAB's shown an incredible commitment right across Australia in funding good early stage fintechs. There's great examples on market where NAB's gotten involved early, provided access to capital like this, and we've seen the result of those types of companies, where it's a Zip or an Afterpay or others, where that access to capital provided by NAB has really helped scale those companies significantly.
Now, you've recently released some results. What are the highlights?
Turning on the NAB funding deal is one of the most material events in the company's history. So that was a really exciting announcement to be able to put out to market and to set the company up to really be able to grow going forward. On the back of that, we recently talked about the fact we've crossed the $150 million mark in terms of loans originated. We're doing that in fairly quick succession. The first 50 million took over 45 months. The second 50 million took 8 months. The last 50 million took around about 6 months. This particular quarter, we've seen really an uptick in our growth rate, which we've been talking about for a while. You know, we were getting ready to turn on the NAB facility and really start to accelerate our growth. That growth rate is now approaching $150 million per annum run rate as well. So it's really great growth for the company. On top of that, we've released the Android version of the Wisr app, the Wisr credit platform and the Wisr app financial wellness ecosystem, and we continue to really scale all parts of the company. So it's been some pretty good news recently.
That sounds fantastic. And to the last question, where would you like to see Wisr in the next 12 months?
I think over the next 2 or 3 years, it's really about us seizing that significant opportunity that sits in front of us. You know, there's over 3 million applications for a personal loan every year in Australia. We're currently taking 0.2 to 0.3% of that. So I think there's a huge opportunity for us to really go and take significant market share over the next couple of years, to leverage that new debt capital facility we have, those increased margins and revenue that we're going to drive from that, and that really differentiated offering of being the only lender that will actually give you a loan but help you pay it down faster. So I think it's some exciting times ahead.
Anthony, thank you so much for updating us on Wisr and for joining us on FNN.
Thanks for having me.